Hi everybody and welcome back. My name's Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. Welcome to lesson 4 of my 1 to 10 piano course videos. Just a quick reminder that the book I'm going to be using is this one here. If you've just come in and joined me at lesson 4, it's available to purchase as a 100% downloadable book. So there's nothing to post out to you. You just purchase the book, which is $15, which is roughly, I don't know, £9 or £10, something like that in the UK. And the link to where to buy this book is in the description bar directly underneath this video or at this website coming up here. So let's get on with lesson 4. Okay, so lesson 4, which is on page 10, the basics of music. So it says, before we actually get on with the exciting stuff, we just need to learn a few important facts about reading music. So there are just a couple of things that you need to learn and memorize. It just makes the whole process a lot easier. If you just jump in halfway through the book and start trying to play, you'll just have so many questions that, you know, what does that mean? What does that do? And that kind of thing. So unfortunately, there are a few things that you just need to be aware of and that you just need to know before you do move on to start playing. Don't worry if you don't memorize this all to start with, because it'll all just be reiterated as we go through. So 5 lines that you'll see the music notes sit on are called a stave or a staff. So just skip some music. So you've got some music here, for example, and you can see the 5 lines that the music sits on. So they are called a stave or a staff. Music notes can be written in 2 places, either on the line. So on the line just basically means where the line is going right the way through the note, or the note is sitting right slap bang in the middle of a line, any one of the lines, or in a space. So the note is sitting in between the lines. So 2 places notes can be written. You'll see this symbol, which is called a treble clef, and that's usually at the start, or it is at the start of every piece of music. It just indicates that the music has to be played with the right hand. So it's called a treble clef. It doesn't matter so much if you don't remember the name of this. I mean, you can always go back and refer to this page if you can't remember, but it does indicate that the music needs to be played with the right hand. This symbol here, same sort of thing, it's called a bass clef, and it's used to indicate if you're playing with the left hand. For example, looking at this piece of music here, you can see you've got a treble clef at the top and a bass clef at the bottom. So it just means that the right hand plays the top line and the left hand plays the bottom line that you've got there. The other and probably the most important thing that I would say is that you must know where middle C is. So in lesson 1, we were just looking at middle C, and I did say that the most important note was middle C. So everything stems from middle C, and it's roughly about in the middle of the piano. So on here, remember the 2 black notes, one on the left, and there you've got middle C. So you really do need to know where middle C is. So we know where it is on the piano. So this is the middle of my piano. So we know we've got a middle C there, but we must know where that is on the music. Otherwise, we are going to come unstuck later on. So on our where our treble clef is, or for the right hand, middle C is there. So it is on a little extra line on its own, just underneath. The extra line actually, incidentally, is called a ledger line. And you can have notes that go outside of these 5 lines. For the moment, middle C would be the only extra one that goes outside of these 5 lines that you'll see, for now at least. So imagine if there was a 6th stave, or if there was another line right at the bottom there. It's equidistant, it's the same distance apart as all the other ones that you've got here, but instead of drawing it all the way across, that would look really messy and get confusing. We just draw enough just to cover the note itself. So that's easy to remember because it's got a line through it. So there's middle C for the right hand, and there's middle C for the left hand. So it's at the bottom in the treble clef, and it's at the top in the bass clef. So if you imagine that for the treble clef, it's at the bottom. So here's middle C, and then you see that you've got all that empty space up here. So that's all the notes that you'd play to the right hand side or above middle C. And then again with the left hand, it's at the top of the line, and you've got all that empty space underneath it. So if you imagine middle C in the left hand as being the highest of all the notes, then the left hand is going to be playing in this area downwards. So you could almost imagine middle C as being like the divider in the piano. Everything, the right hand side of middle C is for the right hand, and everything to the left hand side of middle C is for the left hand. So they are exactly the same note. So if I were to play that note, then it would be here. If I were to play that note with the left hand, it would also be exactly the same note. So it is the same note. They're kind of like the crossover area, if you like. So That's just basically explains everything that I've just said up there, plus a little bit more. So music, just a couple of things that you need to know before playing. 2 numbers that you see at the start of music, they're called a time signature. It's the top number here that's most important. So I know that both the numbers are exactly the same, but sometimes they aren't always the same. So I have said here that the top number is the most important number because it tells us how many beats there are going to be in every bar. That will be explained in more detail in the next lesson, so you don't have to worry about that now. You just have to remember what these notes are going to tell you. So the bottom number is a little irrelevant at this point. So if you don't really want to get confused and you don't want to know that, just skip down to the next paragraph here. But if you do want to know what the bottom number means, it just means you've got 4 beats in a bar. The top number tells us how many beats in the bar. The bottom number just tells us what type of beat. So I really don't want to say too much now. I mean, if you already know it from your school days, and that's fine. But trust me, at the moment, it really doesn't matter. But it just tells us what type of beat there is in a bar. But I can explain that in the next few videos. If you had a different time signature, such as 3/4 or 2/4, it would just mean there are now 3 beats in a bar. So that number would be 3, the bottom number 4, or 2 and 2/4, for example. 3/4 would be a traditional waltz, 1 2 3 1 2 3, and a 2/4 would be like a traditional march, left right left right. So that's it for lesson 4. So thanks for joining me in lesson 4. Don't forget to subscribe and all that kind of stuff, and see if you can remember some of the things that we've talked about. So the staves, where the lines go, see if you can have a look at some music and identify where middle C is in the treble clef and the bass clef. Remember the names of the treble clef and the bass clef. Don't panic too much if you can't stuff all that information in. You just sort of need to be aware of it. So if you don't remember that it's a treble clef or a bass clef, that doesn't matter as long as you recognise the symbol and know what it does and what it's telling you to do, because you'll always go back and remember it. And I'll be saying these words all the way through the lessons 1 to 10 to help you remember it anyway. So thanks very much for watching. Join me in lesson 5 and I'll see you then.